Episode 114. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? We're going to review Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, the penultimate issue here, and Pine and Merrimack and Red Sonja. Let's talk about them right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies and comic books and board games occasionally. I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer. And remember to give me a like and subscribe. I am trying to grow the channel, so help me out with that. And remember, too, that we have launched Mythlords. It is a deck-building card game. It is on backer kit right now. We are fully funded. Everything you need to know to play is in the box. It plays 1 to now 5 players because we have locked the fifth player. Look in the description below for the link, and you can jump right in on that. And the game is only $35. But anyway, we'll talk about that a little towards the end as we get moving. But let's jump right into Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. This is by Brian Bosolito, I believe his name is, and this is number 6, 7. I forgot what number this was, but this is the end of it. So 7. Yep. So in this whole story, if I'm going to redo everything, the Legion of Doom, which is led by Lex Luthor and all the other villains, fell across this thing with Toyman, basically fell across this thing, and all of the Titans, not the Titans from DC, but the Monsterverse Titans, ended up coming across into our world, and to save Billy, Superman put himself in the path of Godzilla's beam, and he was out for the count. They weren't sure if he was going to live or not. And, Lois was distraught, etc. Meanwhile, all across the world, we had now these huge titans, wreaking havoc, etc. But they were all drawn to this one area, which I think is right off Metropolis. And Godzilla ended up underneath the water and was trapped there by Aquaman. But then he started causing, problems with Atlantis. But at this point in time, he's still there. Batman and the rest of the group ended up creating like a Batman, not kaiju, but big mech. I forgot what those things were called. Like a Jaeger Batman, and Lex Luthor created Mechagodzilla. So we have Mechagodzilla and all that in here as well. And then the Green Lanterns came together. Instead of building one big thing, they ended up getting together where each one was a leg and stuff like that, where they basically created a Zord Green Lantern. So we have all this stuff going on, and it's epic, man. It is epic. We have all these characters all over the place. We have Supergirl and Wonder Woman and Donna Troy and Gar and, Beast Boy. All these guys fighting. So it's pretty wild. So this is where we picked this up. We picked this up right with Lois trying to figure out what to do, and she's still thinking that Superman's pretty much dead. But then, of course, he does suddenly pop up, and they said they sent him basically towards the sun, and now he's irradiated, so he's healing up, etc. And we get to see a nice moment with the two of them. Meanwhile, we have Cheetah and Deathstroke plotting away, follow the Titans, etc. But in the meantime, look at that. Look at that. Look at all this stuff going on. That's pretty wild. I mean, tell me that's not epic. So, Guy Gardner ended up dying, and his ring leaves his finger. But we don't know where it goes yet. So everybody's sad that Guy is now dead, and meanwhile Kong is still fighting one of these other creatures here, and Gar, who is Beast Boy, matches him and becomes the second Kong, which is pretty cool. And then you have all this stuff going on. I really kind of want to. It's just epic. So you have Batman Yeager versus Mecha Godzilla. I mean, it's absurd, but it's cool. I mean, a lot of people hate this book, and I just love it. So Superman saves Billy, and now Captain Marvel goes and fights Mecha Godzilla, while Superman goes into the ocean to chat with Godzilla. Meanwhile, the rest of the Green Lanterns get together and go back to back with the Batman Yeager to fight the other things, but Supergirl gets pulted into oblivion by Giganta. So here's Superman chatting with Godzilla, and he punches him in the face, and he evades the blast, but then he unchains him, and he's like, "You need to follow me to where the battle really is." And so we have all this stuff going on. That's a really nice picture of Supergirl, by the way. I mean, Batgirl. I think they did a really good job with that. So anyway, this green light starts hitting, and Kong gets the ring. So now Kong is a Green Lantern. So meanwhile, Donna Troy and Wonder Woman and Supergirl and Shazam each take an arm, and they rip Mechagodzilla's arm off, and the Batman Yeager breaks it over his knee, but then he gets attacked and ripped apart by that other monster. So Batman's out for the count now. It's not only Batman, but Cyborg is in there, and so is Flash, because Flash is basically powering it. But here comes Superman and Godzilla out of the water now, and they both ray that creature. It's good shit. The action is just phenomenal. Here comes Hulk Green Lantern, and they wipe them out, and they roar to the sky in victory. So there's the stone that they were following, etc., and they use that to send them home. And the bad guys are captured, and Lois and Clark have dinner, and they are now engaged. That's it. I love it. I think it's great. That's right. And the ring falls off or flies off of Kong. That's not really how it works. I mean, I can see it leaving him once they're, as they're being transported. That would make more sense, but it leaves him like in the middle of battle when he's done with it. That's not how it works. But they should have just waited until he was about faded away and then just fly off, because it wouldn't traverse another dimension. It wouldn't have the power. So that's it for that one. I really enjoyed that one, and if you're a fan of King Kong and Godzilla and the Justice League, it's cheesy but good. As far as I would love to see a movie on that. All right, so with Red Sonja, we had Kulan Goth has now escaped this other dimension where he was basically dead. So meanwhile, Sonja has saved this girl and her little sister. There's now monsters all over the place, because when Kulan Goth came through, a bunch of other stuff came through too, so there's like monsters everywhere. When Sonja took them to their family, it was a woman who's also like a sorceress or whatever else, and Grace, who was the larger lord, the bigger sister, ended up going with her into almost battle. But we have this ice giant or whatever else named Ymir, and he's just wrecking havoc. He's got this whole hunt thing going on, and Grace has become a goddess now. So there's, rays hit her or whatever else, and revealed the fact that she was like a goddess. So we have a whole bunch of stuff going on at this point, and she's going to eventually have to fight Kulan Goth. But we also start with this other seer who has a bandage over his eyes, and he impresses this other girl so much that he takes her upstairs. And then we see Sonja and Grace, who has captured some of the other fighters that were fighting against them, and she basically squishes them to death with her power over whatever the woodland creatures is. And there's the little sister, and I guess I'm just going to call her aunt or whatever, who's older, and she's like, we have to go help, so we're going to summon some stuff. And I love this picture of Vampirella. I think they did a really good job with that. But anyway, so now uh, we're seeing Cool and Goth. We're back with Grace, and the ice giant Ymir is ready to go on his hunt again and destroy more stuff. And we have that red horned demon guy running around as well, because again, there's a whole bunch of monsters. There's another monster in the forest too that we're not even seeing in this issue. So the ant has now called upon these trolls to come help them and fight. And Ymir is like, yeah, we got a battle going on now, baby. So he's rallying his troops. Meanwhile, Kulan Goth is using blood magic to spy on Sonja. He's got his dudes, but his dudes are starving, and he just doesn't care. So meanwhile, Sonja jumps in to see the guy with the blindfold because he's the one who opened this whole gate as well. And she's like, and everybody's waiting in line to talk to him. And she just skips in line. They're like, hey, you can't skip. And she's like, you left me with the nuns. And he's like, the nuns aren't so bad. But now you opened this portal. And he's like, well, let's just have a drink. And I love that face that she has. Like, whatever, fine. The artwork in here is really good, which is unusual for a Red Sonja book. Usually the artwork is not very good. And so this guy is like, are we going to get fed or not? What's going on? And he crushes the hell out of him and makes him into some kind of a ghost that he's now commanding. Meanwhile, the queen, her kingdom's in the way of all this and just kind of doesn't want her whole kingdom to be destroyed. And meanwhile, right outside her gates, the ant is coming with her whole, army of trolls, and the little sister's trying to communicate with Grace. Meanwhile, we have the blindfold guy telling Sonja about the fact that this other god is searching for his soul, and Ymir just wants to fight. That's all he wants to do. And when you take off the blindfold, he's got these funky eyes, and she's basically telling the story. And then Ymir's out there just going to war. And so there's the trolls and Ymir going to war, and Sonja just can look on. I don't even know where Grace is at this point. And here comes Kulan Goth riding on something that he just brought back from the dead. So yeah, we have a whole bunch of stuff going on. I really like this. I think they did a really good job. This is Thorin Grunbeck. I really like what's going on here. So I would love to see a Red Sonja movie. The movie that they have coming out, supposedly coming out, they picked a completely wrong actress, so it doesn't look like her at all. So I don't have high hopes there. So this is the end of Pine and Merrimack. This is about a husband-wife team. She was a detective with the police department, but she can't stand looking at dead bodies, so she had to quit. She created a detective agency with her husband, who's like an MMA fighter or some kind of a fighter. So he's a big dude. And they ended up taking on this case that they really want to take on because her sister was killed or disappeared, was captured or whatever else, and I guess they never found her or whatever. So there was a kidnapping, and they took the case against her better judgment, but it was reminded her of her sister. She decided to take it anyway. So they tracked it all down. They ended up being a cult on an island. I guess somebody named Epstein. I guess they're trying to match up with. But anyway, so they ended up bringing the cops, or he brought the cops in while she was still in disguise as one of the cultists, and the cops shot him in the back and killed him. So that's where we are right now, and she escaped. So he allowed her to get out and escape as he got shot. So as far as she knows, he is dead. I think he's dead. I think he got shot in the head. So here, I love the paper this is on, which you can't really feel it, but the paper is really cool. But anyway, you have this very colorful cult. The artwork is okay. It's a little bit stylized, but the cops are saying she's gone. I don't know. If she comes back, we'll deal with it. because obviously the cops are involved with the cult. Meanwhile, she realizes she's alone, and now her sister's dead, and now he's dead, and we get this flashback of him promising that he is not going to die before she does, and of course she's looking down at the actual detective agency, realizing that her husband is dead. She's trying to process life without him, and she just totally breaks down. And then their former client, the wife that was cheating, comes up with a gun and says, "I'm going to kill you for ruining my life," because she couldn't get any money out of the divorce or anything like that because they proved that she was cheating. And she's like, "Go ahead and kill me." And she's like, "Well, that's not how it was supposed to go. You were supposed to talk me out of it and everything like that. You're just no fun. And I'll go move in with my mom." He was a dick anyway. Leaving him was probably a good idea. So she drops the gun in the garbage and walks away, and she picks it up. So meanwhile, we go back to the cult, and they're about to sacrifice this girl anyway. So she really changed nothing, but she walks in with a grenade, and she's the guy's a senator, and that mask right there, and she pulls the pin because I think she's bluffing, and she throws it anyway, and she throws it at me. Kind of, "Oh, it's just a dud," but she shoots him in the head. And she's like, "You know what it's like to feel like if you've lost everything," and when she shoots him in the head, you see this little demon guy in the bottom, and she said, "The only wish I have is to get my husband back." And poof, we go to black, and he's back. She wakes up, and it's like before they actually got the case, and everything is relived the same before the case. So we've basically gone back in time now to the beginning of the book. They bet, like they say, they're rebuilding, reliving everything that happened on that day, and she's basically having a Groundhog Day kind of moment. And then the family comes in with the kidnapped girl, asking to take the case, and she's like, "No, not again!" And that's the end. I had high hopes for this book when it first came out. The first couple of issues I really liked, and now that we're on 5, it's turned to crap. I mean, turned to literal crap. So this would be no. I originally had said yes, but it just got to crap. And Red Sonja, this is our recap, by the way. And Red Sonja, I would say yes. I would love to see a Red Sonja, even if it wasn't this story. There are plenty of other Red Sonja stories, but this story's not pretty good. I kind of like everything that's going on. And then we got Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, which is cheesy as hell, but I like it a lot. I would love to see a movie. I mean, tell me that the last Kong versus Godzilla wasn't cheesy, but it was just dumb fun. That's how this is. It's just dumb fun. All right, well, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you for helping me grow the channel. Give me that thumbs up. Give me that like. And also subscribe if you can. Give me that little bell, ding, ding. And remember, too, that we have Mythlords Classic Monsters on Backer Kit right now. Plays 1 to 5 players. It is a deck builder. It is not hard to play. And you can play as Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Creature from the Deep, and then as other characters in here as well, like the Bride of Frankenstein, the Mummy, Mr. Hyde, and then you can add weapons and everything else to them. It's lots of fun, and the artwork is just phenomenal by Mark Spears. And also we have an expansion of Mythlords, Dark Oz, so you could also now play as the Wicked Witch or Dorothy, and then the other characters are in here as well, namely the Scarecrow, Tin Man, the other witches, everything that you'd expect. The Flying Monkeys, and Toto too. They're all in there. All right, so click the link below and check that out. There's a video there as well, and jump right in if you can, because it's an awesome game, and there's a whole bunch of free stuff that we're going to be doing as well during the course of the campaign. We have 2 more weeks left. All right. Thanks a lot, guys, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Check out some other videos on your way out the door, and I will see you guys soon. All right, bye-bye.